Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-through for a little Chapter 4 Part 1 review. This video is to help you get ready for your test. It's to go in conjunction with your Math Excel assignment. Okay? Special shout out to the Bengals, Steelers week. Let's just see if we can possibly get one this week. Alright, so for the majority of this test, we're going to do it in our graphing calculator. Okay? So that's what this lesson is really about. So it says, let me just make this a little smaller. Graph the following and find the indicated parts of the parabola. So we need to type it in right. So we got parentheses, x minus 3. Close your parentheses, hit the squared button, and then plus 1. Check it to make sure you typed it in right. Let's get a look at it by graphing. So that's what it's going to look like. But we can't just kind of sketch it on there. So hit second graph to get to our table. And I'll change my table settings just so they look like yours. I had them going up by half. I'll have them go up by 1. Okay, so you got the point 0, 10 is on there. 0, 10. What's another point? 1, 5. I usually do 5. 2, 2. 3, 1. 4, 2. Notice the symmetry there. And then we'll scroll down 1. 5, 5, and 6, 10. You can see that symmetry. So maybe I did more points than I needed, but now I feel very confident. Now, don't be intimidated by the words. So what does the vertex mean? It's either it's the point at the top or the bottom of the parabola. Okay? So what is this point right here? It's 3, 1. Okay? Symmetry. What's symmetry mean? It means same on both sides. Are you guys engaging yourself right now? Are you listening? Good. So symmetry means same on both sides. So there's your axis of symmetry. Give me some points on this green line. What is this point right here? It's 3, 0. And what's this point right here? 3, 1. And this point right here is 3, 5. I'm just making up points. What do you notice about all these points? 3. What equals 3? That's right. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Okay? Alright, so now, is this blue point down here, is that the bottom of the barrel or is that the top of the mountain? It's the bottom, so that's a min. Okay? The domain is all of the x's, and the range is all of the y's. Okay? So, what are the possible x values?
Well, is the minimum and maximum asking for what the minimum is?
I think it just it says circle 1. Oh, maybe it's circle the minimum. And what is the minimum point? It's the 3, 1, I guess. I don't know. I'll take either one of them. Okay? The domain. Is there anything we're not allowed putting in for x? There's not. So I can tell you on this test, the domain is always that, which is the real numbers. And you might be thinking, what the heck are the real numbers? Well, it's everything but the imaginary numbers. And then now you're probably thinking, what's the imaginary numbers? It's coming next. Okay? That's what 4, 7, and 4, 8 is. All right, now the range. Can y be anything? It cannot. Y cannot be down here at all. So we describe that as y has to be greater than or equal to this point. So what was that point? That's right. Yes, Dusty. You just put this word real numbers, or you can put this funky R with 2 bars on the left. That's how you write real numbers as a symbol. Good question. Okay, so far so good? All right. Now, I will tell you, these are the hardest problems on the test. You will use your graphing calculator, but that doesn't make it completely easy, okay? So, first, let me tell you what vertex form is. Y equals A times H minus K squared, no, sorry, X minus H squared plus K. Okay? I can tell you this, on our test, A is going to equal 1. That's the number in front of the X. So we know that A equals 1 in this one. What we need to find is H, and we need to find K. Well, let me tell you this. The vertex, bless you, the vertex is H comma K. That's what H and K are. They're the values of the vertex. How do you think we should find the vertex of this one? Graphing calculator, okay? So, y equals, clear what we had last one, x squared plus 4x plus 1, graph it. There's 2 ways to find the vertex. First, I'll show you by the table, because I think you guys like using the table. You look for your symmetry. Okay? Do you see how you got a 1 and a 1? You got a 6 and a 6. You got a -2 and a -2, and you have this one right here in the middle. See that? So that's your vertex. But maybe you don't see that, so let me teach you a different way to do it. Go back to your graph, and we want to calculate. And was that a minimum or a maximum that you just saw? We want to calculate the minimum. So you're going to get your water bug going. Go to the left of the answer and hit enter. See how it says left bound? Hit enter. And now go to the right of the answer and hit enter. See how it says right bound? And now it says, would you like for me to take a guess in between these 2 arrows? That's exactly what I want you to do. And the minimum, now you have to kind of be a human and interpret this right. What do you think -2.0000002 is? It's just -2, -3. So, our vertex is -2, -3. So the answer to this question is y equals, I don't need a 1 here, x minus a -2. What's x minus a -2? Squared plus, sorry, not plus, but, well, plus a -3. We'll just write it like that. That's fine. Or you could just write a -3 there. And we're back! So that's our answer. Sorry, I got too much sleep last night. Into it today. Okay? Alright. This one's tough. So, what did we say the vertex was? It's H comma K. Okay? What is a normal point? Well, that's x comma y. So the only thing that we don't have from this equation is what? Is A. So we need to find it. Okay? So you'll do -7. I'm just plugging everything in. equals A times 4 minus 1 squared minus 16. All right, we got to do order of operations here. So what do we do first in order of operations? Order of operations is PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What's the P stand for? Parentheses. So we're going to do that first. Negative 7 equals A times 3 squared minus 16. Next is E, which stands for exponents. Okay? So let me rewrite this the way you're used to seeing it. Negative 7 equals 9. What is that? 9A minus 16. Next step. Add 16 to both sides. And you get 9 equals 9A. So what's A? A equals 1, as I predicted. So, and I can't promise you A is going to be 1 on your test, just so you know. I can't remember. So you end up getting, let's see, where am I going to write this answer? I'll write it in red. Y equals 1, you don't even need the 1, times X minus 1 squared minus 16. Or you could write it as plus a negative 16. Either one of those would be fine. Okay? And that is the hardest part of the test. From here on out, it's strictly graphing calculator or factoring. Oh, no, this one's not graphing calculator. This question is a review of Algebra 1. It's called a difference of squares. Do you notice that 36 is a perfect square? And that 25 is a perfect square? And you have a minus sign in between? So that is 6x plus 5 times, does anyone know what goes on the right side? Excellent. And the directions do tell you what type of factoring it is, which is a nice bonus for you. They didn't need to do that. All right, factor by GCF. GCF stands for greatest common factor. That means you're just pulling out. So pulling out stuff that both terms have. What's the biggest number that goes into 36 and 24? 6. Oh, 12. You're right. This one has x to the 4th. This one has x to the 3rd. So we pull out the biggest that both of them have, which is x to the 3rd. This one says y squared, and this one says y to the 5th, so we pull out a y squared. Now we have a parentheses. 12 times what is 36? X cubed times what is x to the 4th? Just x to the 1st. You could have a 1 there if you wanted. You don't need it. And y squared is taken care of. So we have a minus sign. 12 times what is 24? X cubed times 1 is x cubed, so we have nothing. Y squared times what is y to the 5th? Y cubed. Okay, and that's the answer to that one. Almost done. Okay, there's a fast way to do this, and there's a graphing calculator way. I don't care which way you want to do it. If you want to factor it, two numbers that multiply to be 6 and add to be 5. Five and 1. So then you get x is negative 5 or negative 1. But maybe you don't like that way at all. So here's how I would recommend it. Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh, you're so right. That would be no, hold on. Yes, I did it backwards. I did multiply to be, no, I just did it wrong. All right. You're right. 5 and 1 do not multiply to be 6. X plus 3 times x plus 2. So x equals -3 or -2. I've explained this on other videos, but everyone learns at different times. Do you understand why you switch the sign? Because basically two things are multiplying to be 0, right? Which means one of those two things has to be 0. So either x plus 3 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. And do you see how you get from there to there? You solve those? All right, let's put this in our calculator. Y equals, clear, x squared plus 5x plus 6. Graph it. Notice it looks, oh, that's pretty close. Maybe we want to go to our table. There we go. That's one way to find our answer. You see where they're at there? X equals -3 when y equals 0. X equals -2 when y equals 0. Or you could go back to your table. You can go back to your graph. And you can do this little water bug. So let's calculate the zeros. I need to get to my left of my first answer. Press enter. Get to the right of the answer. Press enter. Would you like for me to take a guess in between that range? Yes. You get -3. That's what we got there. And then I would do it again. Calculate zeros. Get to the left of it, hit enter. Get to the right of it, hit enter, and you get -2. Now, I'll take my time and do that later because there will be some of them that you will have no choice. Unless you want to use the quadratic formula by hand, you're going to have to use your calculator, okay? All right, what's the difference between number 6 and number 7? The way it looks. So we need to add 10x, and we need to add 25, and now we get x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 0. Please factor it if you can. You can, but I'm just going to go right to the calculator because I want to teach you guys how to be great at this. X squared. If you're into doing math fast, you're better off factoring. If you're into just making sure that you understand how to do these problems, then you're better off mastering your graphing calculator. Okay, so looks like we might only have one answer for this one, and that happens, okay? So let's calculate it. We want to calculate our 0. Here comes my water bug. Get it on this side. Hit enter. Put it on this side. Hit enter. Take a guess in between. Yes. -5.000002 comma 0. So I know that x equals -5. Okay. Just to make sure, I'm going to calculate the minimum. That's right. So that is our answer. Okay? If you're wondering, why is there some answer sometimes? Why is there one answer sometimes and two answers other times? It's because how many times is it hitting the axis? And so let me explain this one to you mathematically. If you took this thing and factored it, I need two numbers that multiply to be 25 and add to be 10. What are those? 5 and 5. So either x plus 5 equals 0 or x plus 5 equals 0. So what does x equal? -5 or -5. You would never write it like that, which is why we only got one answer. Okay, I hope this helps. I hope this is making sense. Now, on the final page, you've got to use your graphing calculator. If not, you've got to do x equals minus b plus or minus big square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And those of you that are coming to take this test without a graphing calculator will have to do it with the quadratic formula. Why was the quadratic formula invented, or why did they use it and consider it an awesome discovery? Do you know that? Because they didn't have graphing calculators. There was absolutely 0 point to ever doing that again. Okay? So we just put this in our calculator. Y equals. What'd you say? That is, you're right. They used the quadratic formula to have this calculator work. So the guy that programs the calculator does need to know the quadratic formula. But luckily, for now, that's not you. Someday, maybe. Okay? So, y equals 4x squared minus 3x minus 7. Graph it. These answers should be funky. Okay? So we've got to use our calculate 0 function. Get your water bug to the left. Hit enter. Get your water bug to the right. Hit enter. Take a guess in between. Yes, please. Oh, no way. One of the answers is -1. Okay? And then let's do that same process again. Calculate the zeros. Hit enter. Hit enter. Hit enter. And the other one is 1.75. And notice you wouldn't have been able to find that one on your table. Okay? Last one. You guys are doing great. We have a little bit of work to do, so what do we want to do to each side of this equation to start? Subtract 13 from both sides. So you get 3x squared minus 6x minus 13 equals 0. Back to the calc. Clear it. 3 minus 6x minus 13 okay. Calculate zeros. Enter. 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 Negative 1.309. Do it again. Left of the answer. Right of the answer. Guess. 3.309. Can I get a boom? Boom. Thank you.